The first time Isabel Chen stepped into the Ashford mansion, she made herself 3 promises. Don't touch anything expensive. Don't ask questions, and absolutely don't fall for the fairy tale. At 19, working 2 jobs to keep her mother out of crippling debt, she'd learned that people like Harrison Ashford, tech billionaire, magazine cover fixture, man with a smile that could launch 1,000 startups, didn't notice people like her. They looked through you, around you, but never at you. Her mother, Maria, had cleaned the Ashford estate for 3 years. When a heart condition forced her into bed rest, Isabel begged for the chance to fill in. The money was good, impossibly good, and they needed every cent. Mr. Ashford had agreed without even meeting her. Why would he? To him, she was just another pair of hands pushing a vacuum across his marble floors. The mansion sprawled across 6 acres in Connecticut's wealthiest enclave, all floor-to-ceiling windows and minimalist furniture that probably cost more than Isabel's entire education. She moved through it like a ghost those first few weeks, arriving at dawn, finishing by noon, never crossing paths with the man who owned it all. She'd see evidence of him: a coffee cup left on the desk in his study, a book open on the sunroom chaise, expensive running shoes by the back door, but never the man himself. Until the morning, everything changed. Isabel was cleaning the master bedroom, something she normally avoided, but the housekeeper had called in sick. She moved quietly, efficiently, trying not to look at the enormous bed where Harrison Ashford lay sleeping, one arm thrown over his eyes. He must have worked late. The laptop on his nightstand was still open, screen dark. She was reaching for a glass on the side table when she noticed the pill bottle. It had rolled partially under the bed, orange and prescription label official. Without thinking, she picked it up, reading the name, Harrison Ashford. Medication for a heart condition. She set it carefully on the nightstand where he'd see it, then noticed another bottle on the floor by the bathroom door, and another near the closet. Her chest tightened. Had he been looking for these? The prescription date was from 2 days ago. She glanced at the sleeping figure. His breathing seemed steady, normal. Maybe he'd just been careless. Maybe he'd already taken his morning dose. But something felt wrong. The bottles scattered like dropped breadcrumbs. The unusual stillness of his form. Isabel stepped closer, her cleaning cloth forgotten in her hand. "Mr. Ashford?" Her voice came out barely above a whisper. No response. "Mr. Ashford?" Louder now, more urgent. Nothing. Her heart hammering, she reached out and touched his shoulder. His skin was cool, too cool, and suddenly she couldn't remember if she'd seen his chest rise even once. She shook him harder. "Mr. Ashford!" His arm slipped from his face, and she saw it, the grayish tinge to his lips. The stillness that wasn't sleep at all, Isabel didn't think. Her mother had made her take a CPR certification course last year, insisting everyone should know how to save a life. She'd rolled her eyes at the time, impatient to get back to her shifts at the diner. Now her hands moved on instinct. She rolled him flat, tilted his head back, checked for breathing. Nothing. She found his pulse point. Barely there, thready and weak. She grabbed her phone with shaking hands and dialed 911, putting it on speaker as she positioned her hands on his chest. The operator's voice filled the room, calm and steady. Asking questions, Isabel answered between compressions. 30 compressions, 2 breaths, she muttered to herself, counting. Her arms burned. Sweat dripped into her eyes. She didn't stop. Between rounds, she spotted the bottles again and told the operator about them. About the heart medication? About everything she could see. "The ambulance is 3 minutes away," the operator said. "You're doing great. Keep going." Isabel's muscles screamed. Her whole body shook with effort. She bent for another rescue breath, and suddenly Harrison gasped, his body convulsing as he dragged in air. His eyes flew open, unfocused and confused. "Don't move," Isabel said, keeping her hand on his shoulder, even as relief flooded through her. "Help is coming. Just stay still." He stared at her like he was seeing a ghost. "Who?" "What happened?" "You stopped breathing." "I called 911. They're almost here." Her voice cracked, adrenaline giving way to the shaking realization of what had almost happened. The paramedics arrived in a flurry of equipment and urgent questions. They loaded Harrison onto a stretcher, checking his vitals, asking about medications. One of them, an older woman with kind eyes, squeezed Isabel's shoulder. "You saved his life, honey." Another few minutes and she didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. They took him away, sirens wailing into the morning quiet, and Isabel stood alone in the enormous bedroom, her legs finally giving out. She sank onto the floor, put her head in her hands, and cried. She didn't expect to hear from Harrison Ashford again. She figured the mansion would need a new cleaning service, that someone like him wouldn't want the reminder of his vulnerability walking through his home. She went back to her double shifts at the diner, checking on her mother between rushes, trying not to think about gray lips and scattered pill bottles. A week later, a black car pulled up outside their tiny apartment. Isabel watched from the window as Harrison Ashford himself stepped out, moving carefully, one hand pressed to his ribs. He was thinner than she remembered, but his eyes were clear and very much alive. She met him at the door before he could knock, suddenly aware of the peeling paint and the broken step. "Mr. Ashford, are you okay? Should you even be out of the hospital? They released me yesterday." His voice was quieter than she'd imagined. Rougher. "I had to come. You left before I could thank you. I was just doing what anyone would do." "No," he shook his head firmly. "The doctors told me I had a severe reaction to a new medication. I collapsed trying to find my emergency pills. They said if you hadn't found me, if you hadn't acted so quickly." He paused, swallowing hard. "I have a daughter. She's 7. Because of you, I get to watch her grow up." Isabel's eyes stung. "I'm glad you're okay." He held out an envelope. "This doesn't begin to cover what you did, but I wanted to help. Your mother told me about the medical bills." She opened it. Inside was a check that made her knees weak. "Mr. Ashford, I can't." "You can. You will." His tone left no room for argument. "And there's more. I'm setting up a scholarship fund in your name for people who want to pursue medical training but can't afford it. I'm told you're enrolled at community college. The fund will cover your transfer to any university you choose, all 4 years, and medical school if you want it." Isabel couldn't speak. Tears spilled down her cheeks. "But that's not why I came," Harrison continued softly. "I came to say thank you. Not the billionaire to the employee kind of thank you. The human being to the human being kind. You saw someone who needed help, and you helped. You didn't think about who I was or what you might gain. You just acted. That's rare. That's precious. And I will never, ever forget it. Later, the tabloids would call it a fairy tale. Billionaire nearly dies. Cleaning woman's daughter saves him. Gets rewarded with scholarship and job opportunities. They'd frame it as charity, as noblesse oblige, as another heartwarming story of the wealthy helping the poor. But they'd miss the truth. They'd miss Harrison Ashford telling anyone who'd listened that Isabel, Chen taught him something he'd forgotten in his climb to success. That worth isn't measured in bank accounts or business deals. That humanity shows up in the smallest moments, in scattered pill bottles and steady compressions, in someone who could have just finished their shift and walked away but chose to stay instead. They'd miss Isabel years later. White coat and stethoscope, saving other lives, carrying forward the simple truth that you don't help people because of who they are or what they can give you. You help them because you can. Because when you strip away the mansions and the money and the job titles, we're all just human beings who sometimes need someone to see us, to refuse to walk away, to remind us that we matter. In the end, it wasn't about a test or expectations or schemes. It was about a girl who kept her humanity when the world tried to convince her that people like her were invisible. And in doing so, she reminded a man who had everything that the most valuable thing in the world can't be bought. It can only be given freely from one human heart to another.